Welcome, Big V, to our Youth Women podcast. Our last one for the year for Youth League, as we had three fantastic women's grand finals here. All six teams, a huge congratulations on an amazing season that you all participated in. We couldn't thank you enough. But we got to get stuck straight into it because we had Bendigo in our VYC women who took down the 2022 champions, Keilor Thunder, 85-79 mark. This was a massive, massive game for Bendigo as the NBL1 women did win the championship a little bit earlier on in the night. We saw a number of these girls come in and not even playing this game, but support as well, which was fantastic to see in the grandstand.
Yeah, and credit to Keilor for helping support that and make sure we got the best players on the court and got the best possible crowd as well, which was fantastic. Lavinia Cox, she's a weapon.
Lavinia Cox is a weapon. 30 points. 30 points in a grand final. You would suspect that she was a grand final MVP, and yes, she was the grand final MVP, rightfully so. 30 points with her 3 rebounds for us, since she was instrumental in this Bendigo unit to get to where they have this season.
Yeah, and then she was really well supported across the game. The other standout for me was definitely Poppy Blanche. 23 points, 5 of 8 from deep. Just provided that extra scoring punch. 53 points between them is very hard to stop. So well done to Bendigo, a really good offensive night. And as we turn our attention to Keilor, they just kept on fighting, and every time you thought Bendigo might be able to pull away, they weren't quite able to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at this stat sheet, and from an outsider perspective, it actually looks like they had a really good game themselves.
Yeah.
High 27-28% from 3-point land, 30 rebounds. They shot 75% from the free throw line. They didn't turn the ball over a lot. You probably expect that sort of number.
Yeah, for sure.
In a VYC women's game, that's not outstanding at all. So, a huge credit to this Keilor team. They had some ups and downs throughout the season. They did a fantastic job to keep themselves ticking over. But yes, probably a bit of a disappointing end to their season, obviously. But no, I think they did a fantastic job to get to where they were.
Yeah, they certainly did. And, I think when you sit there and talk about nothing stands out for the wrong reasons on their stat sheet, it sort of goes to show it was a high-quality game from both teams, and it's what we've come to expect in VYC women. Quick shout-out to Macy Boyle, who definitely kept the scoreboard ticking over for her team with 22 points. We got a cheeky 6 rebounds too, and then Zoe Shaw was the other standout for me with 18 points and 5 assists, getting her teammates involved.
Absolutely. We'll move over to our Youth League 1 women, which was our lowest scoring grand final here. A bit of an interesting one. We had 4 quarters where there was only 3 occasions where the points were over 10 points, if that makes sense.
Yeah, look, put it this way, Ted. It was a defensive battle, and you could see both coaches, both Caitlin Bryan and Danny Fidge, 2 great young coaches coming through the ranks, mind you, had clearly done their scouting reports.
Yeah.
And they'd scouted the other team so well that there was literally, you could see them trying to run through their offenses, but it just was getting cut off every single time, forcing low percentage shots or forcing turnovers. So credit to both teams' defense. Obviously, both of them would have liked their offense ticking over a little bit nicer, but in the end, Bulleen was able to get it going a little bit more than what Campbell was, and that was mainly due to Talia Leeson. She had finished with 18 points, and I believe 14 or 16 of those were in the first half. There was one point, it was Talia Leeson on 14 to Campbell on 14 or something like that, for memory. So she kept on keeping her team ticking over, but then it was Lindemans, who I noticed late, really step up with 11 points and 12 rebounds. And a lot of that happened in sort of that late third and fourth quarter, where she really started to put her stamp on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. The Defensive Player of the Year nominee, Kira Lindemans, definitely was able to disrupt this Campbell unit, who quite frankly are very dominant with their bigs. They utilise their bigs quite a lot, and they do a tremendous job of that.
Yeah.
With the twin towers of Rachel Smith being one of them, with 4 points and 16 rebounds for the game. Just an unfortunate turn of events at Camberwell to finish ever so short.
Yeah, and I think we've got to keep it in perspective. I think Camberwell may have been so excited about knocking off the previously undefeated Eltham. It's quite often to treat that game as a grand final in itself. And they probably were a bit disappointed with their effort on the night, but credit to Bulleen because they were fantastic and just kept at them all game.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Now we'll move to Youth League 2 women here for our last grand final here, and this was a very, very interesting game. Not really the outcome anyone was sort of expecting points-wise, I guess, with two fantastic teams making a grand final. It was obviously going to be either team's game to win or lose, but we probably didn't expect this scoreline to get sort of as out of hand as what it became.
Yeah, look, Bellarine started the game really well, and Bellarine rightfully so. We're hosting and we're favourites going in after a fantastic season. Obviously, Whittlesea changed something up in the second quarter and really got themselves rolling, and it was no looking back. And unfortunately, as being someone who's been in a game similar to this before, it's sort of when the other team gets rolling, it's very hard to sort of bounce back, and the momentum of the crowd shifts, the momentum of the whole game sort of shifts. It's hard to get yourself out of it, and it seems to be the case for Bellarine here. Is whilst they had girls who would try their heart out all game, it just wasn't happening as it has all season. So no doubt they'll be leaving disappointed, but they should reflect on the season positively. They did do a great job across the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've had some fantastic years. They made the grand final last year as well. Again, they did fall short, but to make the grand final 2 years in a row is a massive credit to their unit as a whole for their development. So massive congratulations to Bellarine. But we'll move to Whittlesea as Indiana Bodley was the player of the game, the MVP for the game. 19 points to go with their 7 rebounds, 3 assists and 2 steals. Instrumental in this grand final win.
Yeah, she's just such a sort of a calm and controlled sort of player out there. She doesn't ever flinch at a contest, and she can shoot the ball pretty well herself.
Absolutely.
3 of 6 from the 3-point line as well. And Isabella Ryan, that impact off the bench that she's had for a lot of the season, 21 points in 21 minutes, incredibly efficient, and got to the free throw line a lot, 15 times.
Jeez.
She was able to get there. So, but that's her style of play. She's able to get through the lane and put defenders in that awkward position to have to try and make a play and slow them down. So, but wow, Whittlesea, what a back end of the year they've had. They probably were struggling a little bit early days, but they certainly started to piece it together and put together a really good run home.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to the Whittlesea Pacers. A fantastic year. But that'll be all for us. Our Youth League Grand Finals are over and done with men and women. The awards night on September the 2nd. Be sure to get your tickets as we will be celebrating team accolades, individual performances, and a lot more. So do buy your tickets while you can, and we will see you all there.